Hey there, welcome back. So this is part 3 of the seesaw breathing process, which will help you to improve your wave breath if you are practicing Wim Hof Method. If you're not practicing Wim Hof Method, this is going to be a really beneficial practice for you as well, just to help you breathe better, find more ease in your body, and a sense of a longer spine. There's a lot of benefits to this practice. And if you did parts 1 and 2, what you'll see is we're still building on the same idea here, just giving you yet another way to expand into the belly and into the chest. The more different sort of variations on the theme that you get familiar with, the more you'll just find that you have a greater facility overall to create this wave-like motion through your middle. Now, if you are interested in these videos because you're practicing Wim Hof, I just want to say that one of the things that Wim Hof talks about as he leads the breathing practice is to breathe into the belly, into the chest, and into the head. And this idea of breathing into the head, that might feel like kind of strange for some of us. How do I breathe into my head? And so I just want to let you know that I am definitely planning to get to that aspect of the wave breath. But that's going to come a little later in this series, so stay tuned for that. But for now, hope you enjoy this practice, and take care. To begin, just lie on your back. Make yourself comfortable. And while you're doing that, I'd like to say something that was said at the very end of parts 1 and 2 of this process, which is what you're about to be guided through is a process that you can actually change when you do it again on your own. You can add different kinds of variations to it. And the simplest thing is just to understand that everything you'll do right now could be done in other positions. It could be done lying on the side, and it could be done in sitting in a chair. All kinds of situations. We'll use 2 different positions here. And so you haven't been asked to do anything yet, but that's fine because you've been resting. And now just begin to deliberately listen into your breathing. And bend your knees and stand your feet. And as you continue to listen to your breathing, just think to yourself, maybe 10 breaths from now, not right away, but 10 breaths from now, you'll take a breath where your belly is the most expanded that you can do within your range of comfort. But it happens gradually. So with each new breath now, you just aim a little lower down. You're not in a hurry to expand the belly all at once. But with each breath, you encourage the whole circumference of your belly. So that means also backwards into the floor. Maybe just think of breathing into your pelvis in such a way that you could even imagine the bones of the pelvis expanding to the left and to the right. And you could feel the pubic bone being pushed a little forward, the sacrum being pushed a little backwards. And maybe you've already breathed 10 breaths by now, but just now continue and think with each breath that the expansion is reduced just a little bit more, so that eventually you'll just be breathing normally, lying on your back with no special emphasis on breathing into your belly. So you kind of create a very, very slow curve, and you can continue again to make the curve go up so that you're expanding. But gradually, each breath is a little more, and then each time you peak to the place where your belly feels the most expanded, then you allow it to subside until it just feels like you're resting and breathing however you're breathing again. And the next time you get to that place, just stay like that. But then recall how previously you were also, in the earlier parts of this same process, you were expanding your chest, and that you still made use of an intentional movement in the belly, but that was to draw the belly up and in to expand the chest. But here too, instead of trying to expand your chest to the maximum degree right away, can you gradually increase the degree to which you pull your belly up and in, and gradually increase the sense of how the rib cage can widen, and how the back of the ribs can push back into the floor, and how the front of your chest can move forward towards the ceiling. Let it grow gradually, and then let it recede again so that you get back to that place where you're breathing and you're noticing the movements in your belly, the movements in your chest that are part of your breathing, but there's no special emphasis. And then again, you move towards an intentional expansion of the chest. And this time, as you de-emphasize the expansion of the chest and you reduce the amount that you expand the chest, just in a gradient fashion, a little more with each breath, move back towards expanding the belly. A little more each time until the belly is, maybe after, I'll just say 10 breaths, but it might be 15 breaths for you, or maybe it's only 5 or 6 breaths. But you go between expanding the belly and expanding the chest, and you're only worrying about the inhalation here. The exhalations, you just let them go. And so you go up and down like this. Okay, and so just leave that alone now and rest. I'll also say that when you're not listening to this recording, but you come back to this idea on your own, you could repeat that as long as you wanted. Right? You could just do more of what you've already done, and that's enough. But the next place you might take this entire thing is simply to roll onto your belly. And then I'll kind of give you some ideas here, but you already know what you're going to do. You're going to breathe a little more into your belly each time until your belly is as expanded as it can get, and then you're going to breathe a little less into your belly until it feels like whatever your breath naturally wants to do when you're resting. But of course, it's so obvious that the floor is in front of your belly. So how does that change everything? Right? You have to make an effort in certain places to expand despite the completely solid resistance of the floor. The floor is not going to get out of the way of your belly. So what are you going to do in order to expand your belly? You're going to be lifted away from the floor, aren't you? And now take however much time you like just to breathe. You could be lying in many ways on the belly. I'll just say at this juncture, you could have your head turned in any direction. You could have one leg drawn up, whatever version of being comfortable on the belly works for you. You can have a pillow, whatever you like. But now think about expanding the chest, except not all at once. You get the idea by now. You drawing the belly up and in, away from the floor as you expand the belly, and then, or as you expand the chest rather, but then you do go back to expanding the belly. Just like in your previous explorations, you alternate between expanding the belly and expanding the chest, except here it takes maybe 10 breaths to move from the place where the belly is completely expanded to the place where the chest is completely expanded. Okay, so now just roll back onto your back. And if you are a practitioner of the Wim Hof Method, you might just rest here as long as you wish, and then if you have the time, you might try your regular Wim Hof practice of the 30 or the 40 breaths and the breath holding, just to see how it feels after doing this. I hope this was helpful for you.